Hello, hello. So, in light of we can't win if we don't execute, I want to talk today about when to send an email and when to make a phone call. So, we have a little line that isn't mine. I actually got it from another entrepreneur in a mastermind program that I was intimately involved in. And he would tell his students, dude, it's a phone call. Pick up the phone and call. And I would watch this happen over and over and over again, where people would have things that went sideways in their business, sideways in their deals, sideways in with their teams. And they would want to craft an email to send an email to handle the situation instead of picking up the phone and making a phone call. And I've so been there in my own business with team members, with clients, with partners, where the type of conversation that is needed might be a little bit conflict heavy. Like it's a little uncomfortable. I don't really want to have the conversation. It'd be a lot easier to just send an email than pick up the phone and call. I think that's human nature. There's a propensity or a desire to avoid uncomfortableness. And we need to learn that there are times when some of that uncomfortable feeling is a drive to get us to take an action. And sometimes that action is better suited via a phone call than sending an email. How do you make these decisions? How do you know what's an email? What's a phone call? Here's what I've learned. Email and text, there can be a lot lost in translation. It's left to interpretation. Yes, words mean things, but what I've learned is sometimes a word may mean different things to different people. So this is why tone and connection and energy is so important. So if the stakes are high, that if this person were to misinterpret your text or email, it could make the situation even worse, then it's a phone call. I'll use a personal experience that I've had. One of the things I'm learning to do and getting better at it is how much alpha do I bring to the business and how much empathy do I bring to the business. When I bring too much empathy into the business, people take advantage of me. My clients do, my partners do, my team does, they do. It's not because they're bad or wrong or anything. It's because I've given an open door for them to get whatever they want from me because I lead fully in empathy. Then I've also done the opposite, where I've led all in my alpha. And I'm like just black and white, binary, logical. This is what needs to be done. Let's get it done. It doesn't leave much room for humanity. And that hasn't served me well. So I'm learning to balance the alpha and the empathy in business. So I had an experience where I wanted to throttle, like I wanted to put my foot on the gas pedal and I wanted to go. And I did it, but I did it kind of joltingly. And I didn't do the best job about communicating to everybody and making sure everybody understood what was going on, why I was throttling, why it was important. And I had a situation where one of our team members it jolted. And she was a little bit like, this is too much, I can't do it, and kind of had a little bit of a meltdown and sent me a long text explaining that, it really, the throttling was really jolting to her and that she was really feeling unsettled around it. I started writing a reply and realized, no, this is not a reply. When you throttle, you're in your alpha. And what that person is responding with is empathy, like, hey, I need compassion right now. And so when that happened, I just picked up the phone and called her and said, hey, look, this isn't a text message conversation. This isn't an email conversation. I really care about you. I really care about having a healthy dynamic, us learning to balance how much gas we give, how much coast we do, how much break we do, how many pit stops we do. Like I'm working through all of that. I'm so sorry it was clunky. I really want to get it right. What do you think we can do to resolve this? And it became a conversation, a healthy conversation. We were able to sort it out. Now, I've also had this happen with other people in a bigger capacity. So let's take, for instance, a deal. So say you're raising capital for an investment project, raising capital for a business deal. You are doing a kind of a sizable transaction, and the way you penciled it didn't go the way you thought. You could draft an email and send out an email saying, hey, cash call, we need a little bit more money. These things kind of went sideways. Please wire 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, whatever the number is. People have done this. And those moments can be much more fruitful, especially in the beginning of building and scaling a business, to be a phone call, to be, hey, I didn't pencil this quite right. Well, we thought we did, but we had this black swan event. And I really wanted to have a conversation with you to let you know that this is bothering me, that this happened in this deal. This is what I'm doing to make it right. And I just wanted you to hear it straight from me, and I'll keep you posted as we go so we can manage expectations and communication. It's all about building trust. And sometimes if a phone call will build more trust than sending a text or an email, then make the phone call. If it's not going to make or break trust and there's enough deposits in the trust bank account with your client, team, or partner, then maybe sending an email is fine and you're at a place in the relationship that that's suitable. Sometimes a phone call is an opportunity to build, mend, or repair trust. It's also an opportunity to grow trust, and trust is so critical. Now, I'm saying all of this in light of I've gotten it way wrong. I've watched people get it way wrong. I still get it way wrong because I over throttle and forget to coast or forget to use the brake, and I want everything done yesterday. And I'm learning to integrate and balance and harmonize those parts of myself. And so if you're finding yourself like, I keep making these kind of fragmented conversations with people, or efficiency is running low, or there's a lot of miscommunication, things aren't going as planned, I would encourage you to use those as phone call opportunities instead of sending an email. And these aren't like mass memo type things. These are very, very one-to-one type things. When is it more appropriate to send an email, and when is it more appropriate to make a phone call? I think a metric that you can use is, will this build trust, or amend trust, or repair trust, or will this hurt trust? And once you make those delineations, then you can clearly see the action that is necessary to take. And then the process is figuring out how to get your human to have the courage to make the phone call and then address that maybe high conflict, tense conversation in a way that is non-threatening to the person you're having the conversation with, not putting you in a defensive, anyone in a defensive place, but getting both people on the same sides of the table so you can really solve the problem at hand instead of figuring out if there's a right or wrong in terms of I'm right, you're wrong, you're right, I'm wrong type of scenario. Let's just get to what will be most fruitful for this conversation. We could do the blame game until we're blue in the face. Well, we're here because you did that, or we're here because you did this. That is not fruitful. I mean, we can address it if there's any lessons to get there, but once we got the lessons, let's just say, yep, this is where we're at in this scenario, and what do we think is going to be the most productive step forward? What's the most positive progress that we can make given the circumstances that we have right now, and detaching our identity from that circumstance, because we're above and beyond circumstance. We don't, whether we win or we fail, that doesn't define us. What defines us is the character that we bring to the journey. And the phone call or email is just an opportunity to develop our character. Alex Hormozy talks a lot about the entrepreneurs that he partners with and what he looks for. And the one thing he looks for is character, because Dr. Henry Clown calls it, the character is the ability to show up for the task at hand. Sometimes we have the character to do it, and sometimes we need to develop the character, and sometimes we don't have the character at all, and it hits us smack in the face, and then we're very aware we need to develop the character in that situation. That's all part of the journey. I'm just here to normalize the journey. One of the ways is in a practical, tactical system of, do you make a phone call or do you send an email? I would encourage you to make that decision based on, will this build trust or hurt trust? I hope this helps you execute, because we can't win if we don't execute. Cheers to getting shit done.